Janashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Mena Tasvai Shri Gurave Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Dalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Dalbhaktaya Ndeham Shri Guru Varam Shri Rupanam Vajras Vasikam Charanarayana Tattvamanam Shri Guru Charanam Devi Krishna Palu Shri Krishna Leela Katane Surakshanam Darya Madhurya Nishektam Param Varinyam Purusham Mahatam Narayanam Tam Shri Saranam Lalniyam Bhakta Shiromarincha Shri Krishna Padam Jataika Hadi Chaitanya Leela Katasar Saram Narayanam Tam Sarvapavate Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Mahakrishna Sarashila Jai Rup Sanatan Bhakta Raghunar Shri Mahaprabhu Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So first of all, I offer my Sastanga pranams at the lotus feet of our spiritual masters. Lai Shri Ram Bhaktivedanta Shri Karanga Sena Shri Guru. Lai Shri Ram Bhaktivedanta Shri Bhanga Sena Shri Guru. Tara Bhagavad So continue reading from Bhakti-tattva-viveka. So a couple of days back we stopped at these three types of bhakti abhas. So here we see that one type of bhakti abhas is Nirvishesh Jnana Avritta Bhakti abhas. So this is that semblance of devotion which is covered by Nirvishesh Jnana. So this is Nirvishesh Jnana with Bhakti Abhas. The second is Bahirmukh Karma Avrit Bhakti Abhas. Means that devotion which is covered by Bahirmukh Karma. Means something which is not really favorable for pure devotion service, which is actually very unfavorable. So that is called Bahirmukh Karma with Bhakti Abhas. And then the third is this Viparit Vastu Bhakti Buddhi Janit Bhakti Abhas. So we stopped here in this third one. So the first two ones we did. It would be nice if you could remember these terms, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur has coined them and he's given so much insight. So first is Nirvishesh Jnanavrit Bhakti Abhas. First type of and then Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas. The second is Bahirmukh Karma Avrit Bhakti Abhas. And the third is Viparit Vastu Bhakti Buddhi Janit Bhakti Abhas, which means the visualization of bhakti in activities that are actually opposed to bhakti. They are not actually bhakti, but still you think they're bhakti. Like Chandra and Mustik, wrestling with Krishna. And Krishna is so happy wrestling with them. And you think that is bhakti. But how is that bhakti? They want to kill him. Chandra and Mustik. And ultimately, what does bhakti means? You always remember Krishna. So Kansa and Shishupal, they are also always remembering Krishna. So does it mean that they are devotees? No. They want to kill Krishna. They think Krishna is their enemy. No. So this is prevalent also in Panchopasan and Ishwar Pranidhan. Means this Ishwar Pranidhan, we know this process. That the yogi is thinking so much about merging into Paramatma that he loses his very individual existence. The yogi. Normally in this Brahmopasan, he becomes one with the effulgence of Brahma. But here you see he loses his very individual existence. He does not even have any existence of his own. So this is called Ishwar Pranidhan. So this is very dangerous. At least in the previous one he can be saved. He has the association of devotees, he can be saved. But in this one he cannot even be saved. He loses it forever. So this is very, very dangerous. So those known as Panchopasaks, they worship 5 deities. That is, they worship Shiva, Durga, Ganesh, Surya and Vishnu. So they are known as Shaivites, Shaktas, Ganapatya means those who follow Ganesh, Saura means those who follow Suryadev, and the Vaishnavas. So here these Vaishnavas are different from the other Vaishnavas. Because these Vaishnavas ultimately even they want to merge into Vishnu. is Brahman and devotees. So they are not actually Vaishnavas, but still the term has been used for them. So all five are followers of impersonalism. The Vaishnava line mentioned here is not the Vaishnava line that follows the genuine principle of bhakti. So they are different from the other Vaishnavas. The four genuine Vaishnava Sampradayas are not included within the Vaishnava Panchopasana Sampradaya. So here you see this Panchopasana Sampradaya is actually the Sampradaya of Shankaracharya. Don't think that this is like Ramanujacharya Sampradaya or Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbadatya. They are completely different. So here, Sri Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami and Nimbaditya are the four bona fide Vaishnava Sampradayas that are indicated in the verse Shri Brahma Rudra Sharakas Chatvara Sampradayina. So this verse actually is very rarely found. Some Babajis, they were saying, where is this verse found? In which scripture? There is no reference. So then Vaman Maharaj and Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Maharaj, there was this library in Medinipur. So there they went to the library and they spent so many days looking through all the scriptures. Then finally they found this verse, that there are only four Sampradayas. Brahma, Rudra, and this Sanakat Sampradaya, and this Lakshmi Sampradaya. So then, to indicate these four Sampradayas, it is said in the scriptures, Sampradaya Vihina Ye Mantras Te Nishphala Mata, which means mantras that are not accepted from the four bona fide Sampradayas, they yield no result. You have to only accept mantra from any one of the four Sampradayas. So then once I asked Prabhuji that which Sampradaya do the Sevaks of Jagannath belong to? Jagannath Puri. Because we don't know which Sampradaya they belong to. And he said they belong to all four Sampradayas. Jagannath Puri, the Sevaks there, the Pandavas, they are servitors like... because you never know which Sampradaya they are in, like you don't see like which tilak they're wearing. Like. But then actually there's one group of Jagannath Sevaks, those who decorate Jagannath, they are in the line of Gandamata Goswami. Because when Gandamata Goswami was doing her bhajan near the Shweta Ganga, this place, when Ganga Devi appeared, then she was worshipping this deity of Krishna called Rasika. So then she was, under her guidance, many people, they took initiation from her. Why? Because, you know that story, that when Ganga Devi came, she was swept across. And she was placed in front of Jagannath. So then the Pujari thought maybe she's stealing all these jewels away from Jagannath. So then they put her in prison, the king saying he wants to steal. And Jagannath himself came in a dream and told the king, hey, what are you doing? She's such a great devotee. Now to be free of offense, to be free from your offense, take initiation from her. So the king and all the sevaks, all the Pandavas, they went to take initiation from her. So she refused, saying, I will not, I'm a lady, I'm a lady, this, that. Then Jagannath again appeared in a dream to Gandamata Goswami, who was actually called Sachidevi. This was her name before. So then he told Gandamata Goswami, why are you not accepting these people as your disciples? And she's saying, how can I? And she's saying, no, you have to. So then the king and all the Pandavas, they became her disciples. And when she would speak Harikatha, the king himself would come and listen. He would wear ordinary clothes, not dressing like a king, and he would sit behind the back of the assembly and very completely. So this way, that line of Gandamata Goswami is still continuing to this day. I saw also some of those Pandavas, they put Gaudiya Vaishnava tilak. They even come to the temple there in Jai Shri Ramani Gaudiya Math. These Pandavas, they come there. They decorate Thakurji, Shringar. So some of these Pandavas, they were Gaudiya Vaishnava tilak. And I've seen some Pandavas, they were the Sri Vaishnava tilak. Some. Because Ramanujacharya's temple is right there also. And others, they're just like, they wear like a red line. So then, like I was told, that they're actually worshippers of all the four Sampradayas. And also, they are also have a lot of respect for Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya, he has this temple near Jagannath Puri called the Govardhan Mutt. Shankaracharya, he established temples in 4 places all over India. The 4 main ones. One is in Joshimath, near Badrinath. One temple of Nrsimhadev is present. Because Nrsimhadev, he protected Shankaracharya. There were some people who wanted to kill him. Then Nrsimhadev himself protected him there. So Joshimati has a temple there. One temple here in Puri, and one temple in Dwaraka, and one in here, Dharmasthal in South India. So you see here, especially Krishna was his worshipable deity, Shankaracharya's deity. Therefore he would always sing Bhajagovindam, 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 Bhajagovindam. Once he saw one of his disciples, he was like only engaged in these debating activities and logic. He was like contemplating on Sanskrit grammar. Shankaracharya said, what are you saying? What are you doing? Why are you wasting your life? Don't do this. Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Bhajamudamate. Means, oh, Mudamati. Means, oh, foolish person. You don't know when death will come. Instead of thinking about Govinda, you're still absorbed in Sanskrit grammar, in logic, and all these things. Don't waste your life. So this was like Shankaracharya's final instruction. Like one of his final instructions. But unfortunately, his followers, they deny that he spoke this. They say Shankaracharya did not speak this. They said like this was attributed to him, but it is not really his words. They don't know what they are saying. But actually, he has spoken by him. He wrote the Jagannath Ashtakam, where he said, Rasanandi Radha Sarasamapu Ralingana Sukho Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu. Saying, who is Jagannath? Is that Krishna himself who is embracing Srimati Radhika and he is feeling so happy? So who could write like that? No, only a devotee could write like that. So here, Shankaracharya's temple is there because he was the one who drove the Buddhists out of Jagannath Puri. Because the Jagannath Puri temple was under the control of Buddhists. They were worshipping Jagannath as Buddha. And they were worshipping Subhadra as Kirti. And they were worshipping Baludeva as like Dharma. Because in Buddhism they have these three deities, Buddha, Kirti and Dharma. So they were worshipping these three deities in that way. So Shankaracharya, he came there, he said, what are they doing? The Buddhists had captured all of India. So then he drove them over there. So then because Shankaracharya reinitiated this worship of Jagannath, the Pandas there, they felt very indebted to his followers. So even now, before it begins, they call the Acharya from Shankaracharya's temple. He comes and he is the first one. He offers his consultation to Jagannath, and then they begin the Bhakti-tattva. So they have a lot of respect for the followers of Shankaracharya. So you see the Pandas there, they brought all four sampradayas. Or else, any mantra you don't take from any of the four sampradayas, it is not bona fide. Here it is said. But how many devotees accept this? Not many accept. Even in Vrindavan, you see, there are so many devotees who will not accept this statement. Because there are many who claim not to belong to these four sampradayas. No? It's not take any names, become very controversial, but still we say this Swami Haridas Sampradaya is actually from the Nimbalitya. Like you go to Tatyasthan, you see these babas, they put like a lot of sand on their heads, they cover themselves fully, the dust of much. So they're actually from Nimbalitya Sampradaya, so we should not come to them. Because sometimes some devotees are saying, which Sampradaya do they belong to? They're from Nimbalitya Sampradaya. But from a neutral point of view, if you see, then this Radha Vallabh Sampradaya, they're also an Arya Sampradaya actually. They're also the Gaudiya Sampradaya. They're not different from us. But they claim that their master, Hitharivansh, he was initiated by Srimati Radhika. So he received the mantra from Srimati Radharani herself. So then the mantra that goes in their Sampradaya is the one that he had given to all his disciples. So, but we know also that Hitharivansh is actually the disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So this they don't accept actually. They don't accept this. They have a huge following now. You see them now. If you go on Parikrama, if you go near Bhaktivedanta hospice, they have a very nice temple there. They have many devotees there. They wear yellow cloth, you see. They are sadhus. They come here also to take Mahaprasad. So they in their line they have two mantras. They have one mantra from Radharani and there's one more Sharanagati mantra that they accept. And they are doing bhajan. So we must be very careful also in judging them. We must be careful not to criticize them. Because they are also in one way the followers of Mahaprabhu. in one way maybe not accepting him. Maybe they accept him but not as an authority. But still you must not criticize them. Say like, oh, they're not in this sampradaya, that sampradaya. We should be careful. Because they're also doing according to their own standard of understanding, they're also practicing. But still, if they say something against our sampradaya, if they say something against the followers of Mahaprabhu, then we must try reasoning with them, try silencing them. Or else if they're doing their own bhajan and we are following our own line, then there's no need to find faults with them. Or else it will lead to unnecessary controversies. It will lead to unnecessary controversies and they will say many things, we'll have to say many things. Then huge debate will happen and so much aparadha will be committed from both sides. They will commit offenses, we will commit offenses. This is how it naturally happens. Everything boils down to this. Right? If they are doing and they are following their own line, then we must be careful. Because we see even in Vallabhacharya also. Vallabhacharya, whose disciple was he? He was a disciple of Gadadhar Pandit, Vallabhacharya. Because when he came, first he asked initiation from Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu refused. Because he wanted to be initiated in this Yugal mantra. Because Vallabhacharya, he was worshipping Bal Gopal. This is the worshipful deity of Vallabhacharya. So then he took initiation from Gadadhar Pandit. Then Mahaprabhu was very upset with Gadadhar Pandit, saying, why did you give initiation to Vallabhacharya? Then Gadadhar Pandit said, what can I do? He fell at my feet. Then Gadadhar Pandit, he felt so bad that he had given initiation that he asked Mahaprabhu, can you speak those mantras to me again? And Mahaprabhu said, no, you'll have to take those same mantras to your own guru. So then Pundarik Vidyanidhi, it so happened that he was present in Jagannath Puri. So he received these mantras again from him. So we see in Vallabhacharya's line, they don't say Gadadhar Pandit is his guru. They don't say this, even in his line. In his line also, they don't accept this fact. And Vallabhacharya is from Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. So then again we can raise this question to his followers also, why you don't accept Gadadhar Pandit? He has given you this initiation. But then again this will lead to so many things that they will not accept and we have to force them to accept. So therefore Mahaprabhu is very merciful. Mahaprabhu anyhow he wants them to follow this line. He doesn't want them to leave this line. Even at the cost of them not acknowledging his authority. See how merciful he is. See how merciful his followers are. They anyhow want one to follow this line. Anyhow. Even if they deny them, even if they deny the help that they have offered, anyhow they just want to help. So this is causeless mercy. So we are so fortunate that we are in this line. The most merciful line. Who can be more merciful than the followers of Mahaprabhu? No. Because before Mahaprabhu came, who gave bhakti ras? No one had given. Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, they gave bhakti, they gave vidhi bhakti. But not this parakya bhav and all these things. This all came from Mahaprabhu. Even in Nimbaditi Sampradaya, if you see now, they worship Radha and Krishna. But actually they used to worship Rukmini Krishna before. Not Radha and Krishna. Only after Mahaprabhu came, they started worshipping Radha and Krishna and Sakhiya bhav. Not parakya and Sakhiya bhav. Before they used to worship Rukmini Vallabh, Krishna. This is their mood. Anyhow engage all the devotees. Like we see Swami Maharaj's temples. Like you see in Los Angeles, he has his temple, Rukmini Dwarkadish. He has that temple in Los Angeles, in America. So actually, he wanted to name those deities Radha Govinda. That's what he wanted to. But Swami Maharaj is one disciple, he saw the opulence. He saw how opulent that temple was, and he named it Rukmini Dwarkadish. So Swami Maharaj found out he was a little I was saying, without consulting me, you named these deities as Rukmini Dwarkadish. But he said, anyhow, you continue. He wanted to encourage the disciples with whichever adhikar they were in, he wanted to encourage them. Like in Delhi, you see the deities are called Radha Paradasarthi. Why did he name them Paradasarthi? Because Delhi is Hastinapur. And Hastinapur is the capital of the Pandavas. So Krishna, he was very dear to Arjuna in which form? As Paradasarthi, as the charioteer of Partha. So he named the deities there as Radha Paradasarthi. No? And this way he is encouraging all of them. Like in these deities in London, he named them Radha London Ishwara. And then he named the deities in Paris, Radha Paris Ishwara. He is encouraging them in this way. He is encouraging all of the devotees in this way, that you follow them. That you anyhow, according to your understanding, you follow. Because he was saying that all these cities, they're very beautiful, London, Paris, all these places. Krishna is the Ishwar of these cities, so you follow them. So in this way, you see, devotees, they're all following. And if they're sincere, then they'll know what Swami Maharaj intended for them to do in this way. So this is their causeless mercy. So Vaishnavas who belong to the Panchopasan section are basically impersonalists, not pure devotees. So these who belong to this Panchopasaks. All the Panchopasaks, they believe that the murtis of their 5 worshipable deities are ultimately imaginary. In other words, they believe that Brahman has no form and that these forms are conceived only as a convenience for worship while still in the bodily conception of life. So here the Brahmavadis, they say that the Jiva is covered by Maya and Brahma is covered by Avidya. This is the difference. They say Jiva is not covered by Avidya but by Maya and Brahma by Avidya. So now ultimately they say Avidya and Maya mean the same. But Avidya is a greater form of Maya and Maya is a lesser form of Avidya. Means this is like a greater form of ignorance that covers Brahma, and Maya is a lesser form of ignorance that covers the Jiva. So that they don't explain how Brahma became all the Jivas in the first place. That they don't explain. They only explain the point where the Jiva becomes Brahma again. He gives up his Maya and Brahma gives up his Avidya. So there also you see the 2 considerations, not one. Because they say everything is one, but here also you see they say Maya, they say Avidya, they say Brahma, they say the Jiva. So they can never deny this duality. This duality, the difference between the Jiva and Paramatma can never be denied. Even if you look at the word one, O-N-E, one, there are 3 letters there. O-N-E. And when you think about the number 1, then if you draw 1 on a page, then you see there will be so many dots on that number. So many dots. And all those dots, they make that number 1. So how can you deny the individuality of the spirit soul? But here they're denying, they don't accept. They believe that Brahman has no form. And these forms are only conceived for like worship. So then when one becomes perfect, he merges into universal Brahman. And the devotion he offered to those imaginary murtis, whom he considers to be the supreme, is not even eternal. So sometimes you go to Mayavadi temples, they're even offering bhoga to Thakurji. They're offering bhoga, they're doing many things, they're doing archan, they're doing puja, they're doing kirtan. But what is the intention? They want to become one with him. Is it really pleasing to Krishna? Are they really offering bhoga to Krishna? Saying Krishna will accept it. But if one is sincere, if he is not so much polluted by these conceptions, then he will advance. He will be given that facility to associate with devotees. But if one is like really offensive, thinking, oh, I want to be him, then how is Krishna accepting his offerings? He is not accepting anything. No. So this activity is simply called Jnanavrit Bhakti Abhas, devotion that is covered by impersonal knowledge. One cannot attain unalloyed devotion as long as he believes such semblance of devotion to be real bhakti. So symptoms of bhakti such as trembling and the profuse shedding of tears are detected in the performance of this type of bhakti abhas. They should be taken only as symptoms produced by sensual pleasure, pratibimba, in a mere reflection. Means sometimes even they are also weeping, their hairs are standing on end, and their throats are choking when they are doing kirtan, so many things. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur here is saying that this is only a semblance. This is not real devotion. Don't be fooled by them. No. So just as the Panchopasaks display a semblance of devotion towards their imaginary deities of demigods, similarly, yogis also display trembling and shedding of tears towards their imaginary deity of the super soul. So even the yogis, they are worshipping Paramatma. They imagine a form of this 400 Paramatma. And even they are shedding so many tears, all these things. So I'm saying, don't be fooled by them as well. Be careful. The concept that Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas will gradually develop and ultimately transform into unalloyed devotion is totally false. Because by rejecting impersonal meditation and the benefits sought from fruitive activities, the existence of this semblance of devotion totally vanishes. So some say that such kind of worship will eventually lead to Shuddha Bhakti. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this is completely false. How can it lead to Shuddha Bhakti? When you're denying the very personal form of Krishna, how can you worship him? Because what is Bhakti? Bhakti means the Bhakta, the devotee, Bhagavan, the master and bhakti. The process to serve the master. So there are three categories here. Bhakti, Bhakta and Bhagavan. And when you're saying all three are one, then how can you possibly serve Bhagavan? No, when you deny, when you say that ultimately everything is one, there is no question of this. So you're saying don't be fooled by such people who say ultimately this will also turn to Shuddha Bhakti. No. If you want to be a Shuddha Bhakta, then you should leave aside this Mayavad. Don't be drawn to this Mayavad. You leave it aside, or else you will never achieve the Shuddha Bhakti. There remains no possibility of those practicing Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas being benefited unless they completely purify their consciousness from its very root. So they'll have to purify themselves. Impersonalists such as the four Kumaras and the topmost Jnani, Sukadeva Goswami, could only begin new and more exalted lives when they completely renounced their previous faiths and accepted the path of Bhakti. So the four Kumaras, they were Brahmavadis before. So then one day what happened? Narada Rishi, he bought some tulsi and chandan which had been offered at the feet of Bhagavan. So he bought these remnants and he offered some to the four Kumaras. So then the four Kumaras, then when they smelled these tulsi leaves mixed with chandan, then they were thinking, what is this? Although we are aptaram, means although we are always taking pleasure within our own selves and we are aptakam, all our desires are being fulfilled, still the aroma of these tulsi leaves is attracting us so much. How is this possible? There is nothing in this world that can attract us. There is nothing in this world, but still we say like this aroma is attracting us so much. So then they asked Narada Rishi, where did you get these leaves from? Then they said, from Vaikuntha, from Vishnu's abode. So then the four Kumaras, they went to Vaikuntha to have darshan of Vishnu. And then we know the whole episode happened. Where the four Kumaras wanted to go inside, but Jaya and Vijay, they stopped them. And then they were cursed. So this whole Leela happened. Therefore, Mahaprabhu said in the Bhagavatam, he quoted this verse, Atma Ramascha Munayam, Nirgante Vyurukam, Kurvante Vyaitu Visiddham, Nityam Bhuto Guno Hari. That he has such beautiful qualities, the sweetness of his palm, the sweetness of his flute playing, the sweetness of his praying, the sweetness of his associates, that even impersonalists are attracted. And Sukadeva Goswami also, we also see, he was also an impersonalist. So here the question arises, how was he an impersonalist when he is the parrot of Srimati Radhika? No, Srimati Radhika used to personally feed pomegranate seeds to Sukadeva Goswami. So how did he become an impersonalist? Because when Shivji was chasing him with his trident, that time Vitika, the wife of Vyasadeva, she was listening to his Harikatha. And when she was listening, then he entered inside her mouth. And he stayed inside her womb for 16 years. Vyasadeva, he told Sukadeva Goswami, oh my dear son, why are you giving so much pain to your mother? 16 years she has you in her womb, you should come out now. So then Vyasadeva said, alright, I'll come out only if Krishna removes his Maya from here, from this world. Only then I'll come out, or else I will not come out. Because Mahamaya is very dangerous. So then Vyasadeva, he told Krishna, oh Prabhu, kindly appear and remove your Maya. And Krishna said, how can I remove my Maya? Because if I remove my Maya, then this world will cease to exist. It will be destroyed. Because this world is made from Mahamaya. The jivas are in this world suffering the fruits of their karma. And then what will happen? Everything will be destroyed. So then Krishna said, alright, I'll remove my Maya for a fraction of a moment. Means, if you take a mustard seed and you put it on the horn of a cow, how long will it stay on the horn of a cow? Not very long. It will fall away. Because the mustard seed is very small. If you put it there, it will fall. So he said, for that much time, I'll remove my Maya. It means for a fraction of a second. As much time as it takes for a mustard seed to remain on the horn of a cow, I'll remove my Maya. And Krishna removed his Maya. Immediately Sukadeva Goswami appeared from the womb of Vitika and he left home. So then when he left home, then he played the part of being a Brahmavadi. He was not really a Brahmavadi, but he was showing to others that in spite of me being a Brahmavadi, I was also attracted by Krishna and his qualities. So don't don't think that Brahmavadis are not attracted. Like there's even one story of Sukadeva Goswami. Once he went to the assembly of Janak Maharaj. So Janak Maharaj, he saw Sukadeva Goswami and he saw Narada Rishi. And he wanted to examine both of them. So then he told his wife, Sunena, that you dress yourself very nicely, very attractively. And you come and you sit here between the two. So then the wife of Jagat Mala, Sunana, she's a very beautiful lady. She dressed herself very nicely, very attractively. Then she came and she sat near Narad Rishi. And as soon as Narad Rishi saw her, he ran away from her. Because she was so beautiful. He said, "Oh, how can you? I'm a sadhu, I'm a sannyasi, I cannot stay here." He ran away from her. But then when she sat near Sukadeva Goswami, there was no transformation. There was no transformation whatsoever. And then I think even Jagat Maharaj, he said, if you feel, you can even touch the chest of this lady. When Sukadeva Goswami started touching her chest, but still no transformation whatsoever. No transformation, because he was like completely so much absorbed in this Brahmavad or in meditating on Krishna that there was no transformation, even when he was touching the different parts of her limbs, the different parts of her body. So this way we see, when they get that higher taste, then they feel no attraction. Because we see that when Sukadeva Goswami, he was passing through that forest, the girls, when they saw him, they didn't even feel like putting their clothes on. They were bathing naked in that pond. But when he came there, they didn't put their clothes on, nothing. They just continued bathing, splashing water on each other. But then when Vyasadeva came, then they immediately put their clothes on, they covered themselves. Vyasadeva said, "I'm like your great grandfather, he is the same age as you." Seeing him, he never became shy. He said, for him there is no difference between trees and like our bodies, absolutely no difference. But for you, you see a difference. He's a man, she's a woman, this is a tree, all these things. But for him, no difference also. Raya Ramananda, what would he do? He would dress all the girls who would go and dance in front of Jagannath. And when he would dress them, obviously he'd be touching the different parts of their body. It is natural when you're dressing someone. But does that mean he felt any transformation? When Pradyumna Brahmachari went to listen to Harikatha from him, Pradyumna Brahmachari approached Mahaprabhu, he said, "Kindly speak some Harikatha from me." He said, "No. Whatever I've heard from Raya Ramananda. You go there." When Pradyumna Brahmachari went, he heard that Raya Ramananda was playing makeup on them, he was teaching them how to dance. So he got some doubt in his heart, saying, "What is this? What am I listening?" Then when he went to see Mahaprabhu realized he had this doubt. Then Mahaprabhu said, "Although I am a sannyasi, still if I see the wooden form of a woman, not what to speak of a woman, even if I see a wooden form of a woman made of wood, still I get some transformation. But for Raya Ramananda, there is no difference between a woman and a stone. Absolutely no difference. So don't be cheated by all these things. Then you go back and listen to Harikatha from him." Then again he went back, Pradyumna Brahmachari, and he heard all this Harikatha from Raya Ramananda. Raya Ramananda was waiting for him. He said, "Oh, kindly forgive me. I heard you came, but I could not receive you." And then he started speaking all this Harikatha that he spoke to Mahaprabhu. This way, the devotees, when they are absorbed in such bhakti ras, aprakrit brajprem, then how will they be allured with the beauty of this world? So here we see that there remain those who are practicing such pratibimba bhakti avas, unless they purify their consciousness, they cannot be benefited. So they say the four Kumaras and Sukadeva Goswami, they renounced their previous faiths and they accepted the path of bhakti. And by the strength of their new exalted lives, they achieved the status of our acharyas. So therefore, Rupa Goswami, he has said in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that how is it possible for that rare Bhagavad Rati, that bhav, to appear in the hearts of those desiring material sense gratification and impersonal liberation, when such rati is eagerly being sought after by liberated souls who have completely renounced all varieties of material desires, and is not granted easily by Krishna even to those engaged in his exclusive bhajan. So Rupa Goswami is saying, if your heart is covered by such bahirmukh karma and nirvishesh jnana, then how can you achieve this bhav, this stage of rati? Is impossible, because even great personalities are trying to achieve this bhav. It is impossible for them. Like once Arjuna and Krishna, they were walking on the banks of the Yamuna. Then Krishna told Arjuna, "I'm very thirsty. So can you bring some water for me?" So then Arjuna, he started walking towards the Yamuna. So there he saw an old lady. She was like very old. She had like white hair, everything, and she was sitting and she was meditating in her bhajan kutir. So then Arjuna, he went and he offered pranams to her. And then this old lady said, she asked him, "Who are you?" Then he said, "I'm Arjuna." Then she said, "You're Arjuna." then if you are Arjun, then surely Krishna must be nearby. Is he nearby? And Arjuna said, yes, he's right here nearby on the chariot. Then take me to him, take me to him. And Arjuna, he led the old lady there towards Krishna. Then Krishna asked her, who are you? Then she said, I've been worshipping you, meditating on you for thousands of years. She said, for thousands and thousands of years. And now finally I've had your darshan. She said, after all these thousands of years. So kindly you grant me this gopi prayer. I can serve you in the mode of a gopi. Then Krishna, he said, Tathastu. Alright, you will serve in the mode of a gopi. So here you see this old lady, she was worshipping Krishna for thousands and thousands of years. And she achieved this gopi prayer. So this gopi prayer is not easily had. No, it is had only after performing austerities for so many lifetimes. But still, in spite of that, if one has greed, then even those thousands of lifetimes can pass in just a moment. One has greed. But such greed is very rarely achieved. No. So therefore one has to follow the process. Begin from the bottom, begin from the root. Begin from Vachavai, Manasavai, Krodhavai, Jivavai, Mudaropastavai. Then gradually go to Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtana. Then gradually you go to the other stages. No, like Anaya Raditonu Namana Isha. So you cannot like just jump to the top. No. Like once Gurudev was preaching and there one person, he told Gurudev, can you give me Siddha Pranali? Like, can you give me this process to become perfect? Siddha. And Gurudev said, are you still attracted to women? He said, yes. Are you still attached to wealth? He said, yes. Are you still attached to followers? He said, yes. Then how can you have this Siddha Pranali? He said, this is not the process to get Siddha Pranali. Because in Radhakund, if you go there, you easily get Siddha Pranali. Like you see, even some sannyasis, when Gurudev's mission, they left Gurudev's mission to get Siddha Pranali from there. Because it's very easily had, but it is not so easily had. To follow the process, gradually, when you come to the stage of bhav, then automatically your sarup starts to awaken. Automatically, there's no need for someone else to come and tell you what your sarup is. Automatically you start awakening your sarup there in the stage of bhav. So you have to follow the process. So then how can this bhav, which is so rarely achieved? Because we see what is the symptom of bhav. It is sudurlabha. Sudurlabha means very, very rare. Durlabha means rare. Sudurlabha means even more rare. So how can such rarely achieved bhav appear in the heart of one who has any desire for karma and jnana? It is imperative to mention here that those who consider the pleasure derived from association with the objects of the senses and taking intoxication to be love of God are themselves polluted and may pollute others also. So one is always thinking about enjoying the objects of the senses, he is always taking intoxicants, and how will he achieve this love of God? Like once Gurudev was on a morning walk and one devotee, he told him, oh, I am smoking ganja. I like smoking this hashish, marijuana, all these things. And Gurudev said, if you cannot even give up this marijuana, all these things, and how can you hope to achieve that brain that I have come to give? When you cannot even give these little things up. Because right now you see, like devotees, they are getting addicted to this habit, smoking marijuana. Because marijuana is legalized in some countries. Because they say it has some medicinal properties, this marijuana. It may have also, because they're basically leaves. So it may have some medicinal properties also. But also they make one hallucinate so much. No? So although they have some good properties, still you see the drawbacks. The disadvantages, they far outweigh the advantages. So what can one gain from smoking them? So therefore, one should not be attracted to these intoxicants. They're very dangerous. No. So here Gurudev is saying, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, if you cannot give these things up, then how can you hope to achieve this bhav, which are actually the basic things that have been given up. So now he is going to explain Chaya Bhakti Abhas. It is very important for a sadhak to understand Chaya Bhakti Abhas. Unlike Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas, Chaya Bhakti Abhas is not crooked and shrewd. It has simplicity and virtue. So those who follow this Chaya Bhakti Abhas are very simple people. And Rupa Goswami has written the symptoms of this Chaya Bhakti Abhas. There are a few similarities between Chaya Bhakti Abhas and Shuddha Bhakti. But by nature, the practitioner of Chaya Bhakti Abhas, he feels some slight curiosity concerning what fruit will be attained by following this process. His mind is restless and some of his material distress is eradicated. So one is following this Chaya Bhakti Abhas, is always thinking, what fruit will I achieve? What will I achieve by following Bhakti? Will I go to heaven? Will I enjoy nicely? What is the fruit? So he's always having this desire within his heart. So Chaya Bhakti Abhas is sometimes visible even within a person bereft of spiritual knowledge. Just by the influence of that, having come into contact with the times, places and devotees that are related to Bhagavan. Like let's say a sadhu is walking on the street and a person, he gives him a glass of water. Like if you see, if you're doing Govardhan Parikrama, Vrindavan Parikrama, all these people from Delhi and Haryana, all these places, they're standing on the road. And there's so many sadhus are doing Parikrama. And they're sometimes giving like some clothes, some water, some like something, sometimes some prasad, some madhukari. And when these sadhus, if they accept something from them, then they're getting so much sukriti. The sadhus will engage them in Bhagavan's seva. So such people, they follow Chaya Bhakti Abhas. Then they will look at all these sadhus and they'll also desire to practice devotion in their own lives. Sometimes they come to the dham, and there they see all the temples in the dham, they see all the devotees, and automatically this desire appears in one's heart. But this is like not really pure bhakti, but like a semblance of bhakti. No? So then, in this way, whether one be a follower of Panchopasan or of a bona fide disciplic succession, one cannot attain the stage of Chaya Bhakti Abhas without some special good fortune having arisen within him because of the shadow of Bhav arising just once. So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying even such a stage of Chaya Bhakti Abhas is very rarely achieved. Don't think that anyone can have this Chaya Bhakti Abhas. This is actually a shadow of Bhav, he's saying. This is actually, Bhav is gradually entering within his heart. So upon obtaining the mercy of a pure Vaishnava, Bhav Abhas can suddenly progress up to the stage of Bhav. So here we must not mix Chaya Bhakti Abhas with Sukriti. So here actually giving water to sadhu and like giving food is actually Sukriti, not Chaya Bhakti Abhas. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur says here the Chaya Bhakti Abhas is actually an Abhas of Bhav. So how can one just achieve this by like giving all these things? This is Sukriti, Bhakti Unmukha Sukriti. So in Chaya Bhakti Abhas, one gradually progresses. But on the other hand, if one commits an offense at the feet of a pure Vaishnava, even the topmost semblance of Bhav gradually goes away. Just like the gradual waning of the month in the Krishna Paksha. During Amavasya, you see, there's a dark moon. No, during Purnima, there's a full moon. But during Krishna Paksha, what happens? For the next 2 weeks, for the next fortnight, gradually the moon starts decreasing in size. Decreasing until it vanishes. And that's a dark moon. So then Vaishnava Aparadha is like this, very dangerous. Like I've spoken this story before, that once one devotee, he had some sickness and he went to the doctor and he told the doctor that please cure me of this sickness. The doctor said you cannot be cured. Then he said, will I die? He said certainly. There's no treatment for the sickness. So then this devotee, he went to one disciple of Prabhupada, Saraswati Thakur. His name was Bhaktivichar Jajavar Maharaj. So he went to Jajavar Maharaj and he said, Maharaj, I have this sickness. And the doctor saying, I can't be cured, so what should I do? Then Jajavar Maharaj, he looked at him and he told him, you know why you have this sickness? It's because you've committed Vaishnava Aparadha. Did you do something to a Vaishnava? Did you like say something to him? And he said, yes. Like some time back, I offended a Vaishnava very much. Then Jajavar Maharaj said, go now and beg forgiveness from him. Fall at his feet and like I'll beg to be forgiven by him. So then this devotee, he went to this devotee's house who he had offended. But then when he spoke to his family, they said he has passed away. He died recently. So then this devotee again, he came running to Jajavar Maharaj. And he said, Maharaj, this devotee has died. So now what should I do? How can I ask forgiveness from him? Then Jajavar Maharaj told him, all right, you go to that place where they've cremated his body, where they've burned his body. You go to that place and you beg for forgiveness from there. But he said, Maharaj is already dead. Jajavar Maharaj said, no harm. He's already left his body, no harm. Just go to that place and beg for forgiveness. So then that devotee, he went to that place where his body had been burnt. And there he started weeping so much, like out of genuine regret. Oh, Vaishnava Thakur, please forgive me. I'm so unfortunate. I could not even fall at your feet while you were still alive. So now you have left your body, how can I ask forgiveness from you? So wherever you are, kindly forgive me, he said. And due to the dust of that place, and he poured on his head. So then, after some time, when he went to the doctor to get himself checked again, and the doctor told him, no, you don't have that sickness anymore. The doctor said, how is this possible? And he was very surprised, saying, I thought you had this sickness, but now you're free. He said, now there's no need for any treatment also. No, nothing will happen to you. Go away, he said. So then this devotee, he came to Chajavar Maharaj, and he fell at the feet of Chajavar Maharaj. He said, Maharaj, doctor just now he told me, I don't have this sickness anymore. Then Chajavar Maharaj said, just see, it means that Vaishnava has forgiven you. So they say, Vaishnava Prad is very dangerous. It can stunt one's devotion. Now, being lusty, being greedy, all these things, they're like natural for every jiva. Because since time, since millions of lifetimes, we've been like addicted to all these things. So we are really sincere that one life we can be cured of all these and others. But Vaishnava Prad is very dangerous. Life after life, we'll have to then, in the sense, we'll not have bhakti. So one sincerely regrets within his heart, it is said 50% of his offense is already gone away. 50%. Like let's say someone has offended a Vaishnava, and within his heart he sincerely has some atonement. Oh, why did I do that? No, the Vaishnava is like, he has no envy, he has nothing. Oh, I'm so fallen, I'm so rigid. So within his heart, if he regrets even a little, then 50% of the offense is already gone. And the next 50%, he'll have to go and ask forgiveness. And the Vaishnava, his heart is always melting. No, his heart is always melting in compassion. He's paradukka dukki. He cannot tolerate to see the suffering of others. So if you go to him and he'll say, oh, I'll never forgive you, this, that, then how is he exhibiting his compassion? He'll forgive you. He'll say, all right, no harm. He'll embrace you. He'll say, no harm. They'll continue practicing devotion together. So this Chaya Bhakti Abhas is of two types. Sarup Jnana Bhav Janit Bhakti Abhas means the semblance of devotion that appears in the knowledge of one's, in the absence of knowledge of one's inherent identity. Means Sarup Jnana Abhav means one does not have any knowledge of his own Sarup, his own identity. And the next is Bhakti Uddipaka Vastu Shakti Janita Bhakti Abhas. Means the semblance of devotion in which the stimulation for bhakti is caused by the influence of having come into contact with objects such as time, place and circumstance that are related to Bhagavan. Means coming to the Dham, serving the Dhamvasis, serving the Vaishnavas, the Sadhus. This will lead to Chaya Bhakti Abhas. But this is different from Sukriti, Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. Don't get confused between the two. So here the Swarup Gyan concerning the Sadhak, Sadhan and Sadhya is not different from the inherent nature of Shuddha Bhakti. When such Swarup Gyan has not yet arisen within a sadhak, but the desire to cross over the ocean of material existence has come within him, then whatever symptoms of bhakti visible in him in that condition, they are merely bhakti abhas. So here the devotee, he has not realized his Swarup, but still in his heart he has a desire to be liberated. Saying, oh, why am I stuck in this world, such a horrible place? When will I be liberated? So that desire is sincere, but he has not realized his Swarup. So this is called Swarup Jnana Bhav Chaya Bhakti Abhas. So even the Vaishnavas are duly initiated into a genuine sampradaya, and even though they're chanting Diksha mantras that they have received from their Diksha Guru, even they will not realize their Swarup unless they do proper sadhana bhajan. So here it says that this semblance of devotion transforms into Shuddha Bhakti when one obtains his intrinsic knowledge. So you see, Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas will not lead to Shuddha Bhakti. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said this. Because Pratibimba is actually not directly related to Bhakti. But Chaya Bhakti Abhas, it will lead to Shuddha Bhakti. One is sincere. One is sincere, gradually practicing this semblance of devotion, he will achieve Shuddha Bhakti. So even for Vaishnavas who are duly initiated with the genuine sampradaya, the illumination of one's eternal identity arising from the Diksha mantras that they receive from the Diksha Guru will not appear until they are fortunate enough to receive instruction on this intrinsic knowledge. So even if one has taken initiation, even if he has taken Diksha, but if he doesn't have a Siksha Guru, doesn't have a Bhajan Siksha Guru, or if his own Diksha Guru doesn't give instructions, then how will he realize all these things? How will he realize his own Swarup? Like you see Kopakumar, he received initiation. But he didn't know how to chant the mantras, what is the sambandha with Krishna. So therefore he had to go through all these different planets. He had to visit all these different places. Then finally when he met Krishna and Golokundam, then he realized his Swarup. So due to ignorance of this intrinsic knowledge of Bhakti Yoga, Swarup Siddha Bhakti remains covered, and hence only a semblance of devotion is visible. So the devotion of Panchopasaks who remain aloof from the teachings of impersonalism and who perform the worship of their own favorite deity by considering him or her to be a direct expansion of Bhagavan and the Supreme, then their goal is also Chaya Bhakti Abhas. So one, he's thinking, oh, why do I want to merge into Krishna? This is very bad. This deity is Krishna himself. So if he worships in this way, then he will also gradually, from Chaya Bhakti Abhas, achieve Shruta Bhakti. There is a great deal of difference between Panchopasak Vaishnavas and Sampradayic Vaishnavas. The resolute faith of Sampradayic Vaishnavas in the personal aspect of Bhagavan is more stronger than that of Panchopasak Vaishnavas. So for those Vaishnavas who have been initiated into the four Sampradayas, they have so much nishtha in the service of the deity. But those who have received initiation in this Panchopasak, they don't have so much nishtha in the deity. So by receiving proper instruction on philosophical principles, a Sampradayic Vaishnava, he remains hopeful of reaching a very exalted stage of pure devotion. But a Panchopasak cannot be as hopeful. So one who is initiated in the Sampradayic line, in the four Sampradayas, he has this hope that one day I can achieve Bhav and even pray. But here for the other devotee, there is no such hope. He can only hope to achieve Sukriti. And once he's achieved more and more Sukriti, then at one point of his life, he can hope to have the association of a bona fide Guru, who is coming in one of the four Sampradayas. This is only if he has nice Sukriti. So the accessibility of association of pure devotees for Sampradayic Vaishnavas is much better than it is for Panchopasaks. So those who are in the four Sampradayas, they have this opportunity to associate with sadhus more and more. But those who are in this Panchopasak line, they don't have as many opportunities. But for them, they have more. So by some good fortune, the Panchopasaks obtain the association of devotees and simultaneously keep themselves aloof from the association of Mayavadis, then they can also be refined by the Sampradayic system. Means they will also take initiation in one of the four Sampradayas and they will also start practicing Bhakti. So two scriptural evidences are mentioned in Bhakti Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami. In the Skanda Puran, it is confirmed that Sampradayic Vaishnavas achieve their desired result even by the practice of Chaya Bhakti Abhas. Just by receiving initiation into the Gopal Mantra, one can obtain liberation. So what can be said about what one can achieve by performing devotion unto the Supreme Lord? So just by chanting the Gopal Mantra, even if Sambandha Jnana has not arisen within you, even if you don't know the Adhishthatri Devata, the predominating deity of your mantras, still if you're sincere in chanting them, you will be liberated from samsara. But what do we desire? Not just liberation, we desire prema. And that prema can only be had by Sambandha Jnana. Regarding Panchopasaks, who remaining free from Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas, have developed Chaya Bhakti Abhas, the Adi Varha Puran says, if one worships Ganesh for thousands of births and becomes free from all sins, then it is possible to come to the platform of Vaishnavism. So the scriptural conclusion is that the worshippers of Durga Devi, when they are very sincere, then they will gradually become the worshippers of the sun god. And then when they worship Surya Dev very sincerely, then they will gradually become the worshippers of Ganesh. And then when they become very sincere in their worshipping of Ganesh, then gradually they will become worshippers of Shiva. And once they worship Shiva very nicely, then they will gradually become worshippers of Vishnu. This is the process. See here. First one will worship Durga Devi, then Surya Dev, then Ganesh, then Shiva, and then Vishnu. And if one is very, very fortunate, then he will worship Radha and Krishna also at one point of his life. So this way, by the careful analysis of the words of scriptures, it is understood that by the influence of association with pure devotees, Chaya Bhakti Abhas transforms into pure devotion. So now we'll just read this Bhakti Uddipaka. In the scriptures, there are many examples of Bhakti Uddipaka Vastu Shakti Janit Bhakti Abhas. What does this mean? The Tulsi plant, Mahaprasad, Vaishnava Prasad, the days of devotional observance like Ekadashi, serving the deity of Bhagavan, the holy Dham, the Ganga, the foot dust of Vaishnavas, they're all various objects that act as Bhakti Uddipak, stimulate to devotion. So let's say one offers pranams to Tulsi Devi, one puts some water on Tulsi Devi, one takes Mahaprasad, one takes Vaishnava Prasad, one observes Ekadashi, one goes to the holy Dham, one takes a bath in the Ganga, the Yamuna, one takes the foot dust of Vaishnavas. If you do all this, then you get so much bhakti, Unmukhi Sakruti, which will lead to Chaya Bhakti Abhas, and then Pure Bhakti. So the living entity receives immense benefit by coming in contact with these objects even unknowingly. Sometimes benefit is had when the innocent jiva unknowingly commits an offense to them. Even if the jiva is very ignorant and he commits an offense, still his bhakti will not go away. Because he's like a baby. Baby sometimes passes stone on his mother. Mother will always forgive the baby. Because he's just a baby. What does the baby know? Sometimes even if these people do something out of ignorance, still they will be forgiven. So coming into contact with these objects is also called Bhakti Abhas. Means following Ekadashi, worshipping Tulsi. Devotees will not be astonished upon witnessing such remarkable results of Bhakti Abhas. So devotees, they are not astonished. They think this is very natural. All such results are due solely to the immense power of Shuddha Bhakti. If the processes of Gyan and Yoga are not executed purely, and if they are not supported by Bhakti Abhas, then they cannot give any result. Even Gyan and Karma are not independent from each other. They have to depend on Bhakti. On the other hand, Bhakti Devi is completely independent. Regardless of the motives of those who take shelter of her, she fulfills their innermost desires. See, Bilamanga Thakur, he was so lusty. He was attached to a lady, but still he received pure Bhakti. There's a very nice story about who Bilamanga Thakur was. In his previous life, he was a sannyasi. So then one day, there was one small girl who was a princess. She was the daughter of a queen and a king. So once she died. So when she died, the parents were very much attached to her. So when they buried this girl, then they took all the gold they had and they put that gold in this pit, in this hole where the girl was buried. So Bilamanga Thakur, he was a sannyasi. What did he do? When the parents left and everyone left, he dug that hole and then he started taking all that gold away. Because he was thinking, if I take all this gold away, then I can serve all the devotees. I can give them Mahaprasad, I can arrange clothing, all these things. Then that princess, that little girl, she wasn't a little girl, she was like 14, 15 years old, 16 years old. So she appeared to Bilamanga Thakur in a dream and she said, what are you doing? Don't do this. No, you're a sannyasi. You should not be touching the body of a woman. He said, but you're dead already. No, what difference does it make? Also, I can use this gold in the seva of all the devotees. Then she said, don't do this. If you want gold, you go to my parents and they'll give you as much as you want. But don't take all this away because this is not good. So then Bilamanga Thakur, he went to this lady's parents and there he asked for gold. He said, your daughter, she appeared to me and she said, I can take as much as I want from you. Then her father was weeping so much. At least you could see my daughter, but I cannot see. Then he said, take as much as you can. And he gave as much gold as he wanted. So then, after Bilamanga Thakur had used all of that gold in the service of the Vaishnavas, then again he came to the same spot where that girl had been buried. Then again he started digging that place. And then the girl became very angry with the lady. She said, I warned you not to touch me. But still you're doing so in spite of being a sannyasi. Then she said, I'll curse you. In your next life, you'll always be attached to women. She said, in your next life. Even though you're a sannyasi now, you'll not lose your bhakti, but still you'll be very attached to women. And that same lady who had cursed him, who did she appear as? She appeared as Chintamani. Siksha Guru of Bilamanga Thakur. No, Chintamani chastised Bilamanga Thakur. Why are you so attached to women? Now also. No. She was on listening to her, then he gave everything up. And he left to Vrindavan. So here you see, Bilamanga Thakur is very lusty, so many things, but still you see Bhakti appeared in his heart. And one can say, oh, how is this possible? But still you see, Bhakti is independent. Never know whose heart she will appear. One may have all good qualities. He may be very gentle, he may be very forgiving, he may be very polite, very truthful, very courteous, very forgiving, very generous, very merciful, all these things. But Bhakti may not appear in his heart. And for another person, he may have all bad qualities. But still Bhakti may appear in his heart. Why? This is the nature of Bhakti. She is supremely independent. So the execution of pure devotion is our only duty. Those who desire success should not under any circumstance give a place to Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas, reject this Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas. By the strength of bhajan, under the guidance of pure Vaishnavas, they should go beyond Chaya Bhakti Abhas and take exclusive shelter at the lotus feet of Bhakti Devi. Therefore, now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is concluding here. We'll stop at this. All of you accept this principle presented by Vishwa Vaishnav Das. So see, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is introducing himself as Vishwa Vaishnav Das. What is he saying? Those who desire to relish the liquid mellows of devotion, Bhakti Ras, should always remain aloof. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, even stay away from Chaya Bhakti Abhas. Although Chaya Bhakti Abhas is favorable for pure Bhakti, stay away from it. Don't be attached to it. So it is concluded that Pratibimba and Chaya Bhakti Abhas, both should be given away. Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas can make a jiva commit many offenses, while Chaya Bhakti Abhas is incomplete. So give both of them up. The execution of unalloyed devotion is the only recommended activity for the living entity. So only practice Shuddha Bhakti. So then he is going to speak about offenses towards Bhakti. That we'll read on another day. So we'll stop here. And falling at the feet of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, may he give us the strength that all these principles that he has spoken of in this book, Chaya Bhakti Abhas, Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas, Jnana Vrit Bhakti Abhas, Bahirmukh Bhakti Abhas, Vastu Viparit Bhakti Buddhi Janit Bhakti Abhas, we can avoid all these things and practice Shuddha Bhakti by his causeless mercy. So Thakur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Bhakti-tattva-viveka ki jai, Shri Gurudev Param Gurudev Prabhupada Rupanakari Guru Parvi ki jai, Tant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Tai Gopinande Anam Pavan Yoga